Afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the media briefing for this Wednesday. We're going to start with our first topic, and we're going to start with some really good news. The Share Center, which many of you know about, recently celebrated its second anniversary of operations, and there is a lot of really good news about what the center is doing to share with you. So we're very pleased to have two people who are intimately involved with the operations of the Share Center, Gary Tia, who is the Associate Director of Programs, and Desiree Mora, who's the Program Manager at the Share Center. Welcome to the news briefing, and thanks very much for coming on and talking about the great work of the Share Center.
Thank you for having us. Maya, we have like a little bit of a little presentation. Did you want us to share that, or how did you want to?
That would be great. I know you presented before the board a couple of weeks ago, and there was really great information in there. We were hoping you would share that again.
Yeah, so I can share my screen and pull that up if that's okay.
Please do.
Yeah, let me get it opened. Can everyone see?
We do see it. You might want to put it on presentation just to be full screen.
Okay.
Looks good.
All right. So I'll go ahead and just briefly introduce Desiree Mora, who is the program manager at the Share Center. And she can kind of introduce what our staffing structure looks like, and we'll take it from there. Once she introduces the staffing model, I'll go to the next slide, and we'll just kind of we'll breeze through the presentation together. So Desiree, why don't you go ahead and just kind of introduce the staffing model, your team, and what they're doing real quick.
Perfect. Thank you, Gary. Hello, everyone. My name is Desiree Mora, and the staffing structure. So we have about 12 residential counselors, and their role is really, really big. They are involved with connecting directly with the clients, and they are working with getting them document ready and preparing them for the next phase, which is the housing phase. We have 5 care coordinators who take on that role of being out in the community, contacting landlords, creating a good relationship with them, and essentially housing our clients there. In the meantime, we also have 1 employment coordinator. So during their time with us, if they have no income, they can work with our employment coordinator to gain income. They support with mock interviews, resume building, and preparing them for that role. We also have 1 property supervisor who is in charge of anything and all facility related events. So this is my team, and huge. Everyone has a huge role here, and together we're able to get through and help all the people that we do help. Next slide, please. And then here is the referral and enrollment process. So anyone can either self-refer, so they can call in, they can stop by and complete a referral so we can get them onto our wait list. Because our program, there's so much resources and support that we offer. There's quite a big waiting list. So the sooner the better they call us, stop in, even a community member such as a case manager for another agency, or someone like a high school or school liaison, they can also call in and get that referral completed. Once space is available, we will schedule an intake with them, walk them through the facility, get them familiar with everything and all the services that we offer. Let me see, and then that's when the care coordination begins.
As of right now, our current census, and we did these numbers like a month ago. So, but at the time we were serving 83 individuals 22 who identify as male, 14 that identify as female, and then families with 47 families in the house at the Share Center. So those are households with 24 children. One of the things that are unique to the Share Center versus other shelters is that we allow for pets to come in. So one of the things that we're really proud of is that we have a pet census. We have, as of right now, 5 dogs, 1 cat, and 2 birds. Not too long ago, we housed individuals with turtles. And so I think that it's a big thing, especially with having so many children at the Share Center, that we found space for our pets or for their pets to have a room as well. And the whole housing process of housing individuals with their pets has been a very fantastic experience. In terms of just pure data, we've served 397 households. And of those households, we've been able to house, at least in this last fiscal year, 121 people into permanent housing destinations. 13 of those, in addition, we also served 13 other individuals that went into short-term housing destinations. And that could be anything like a substance abuse program to maybe a transitional housing program where they are able to get a lease and it's a little bit more long-term than emergency shelter. One of the things that we're really proud of is that in the first 2 years, we've been able to house 208 individuals into permanent housing. And I think that's something that, you know, we're really proud of. I know that Desiree's team has worked really hard in the past 2 years to develop relationships with landlords and property management companies. So there's been a lot of work that has gone into that number of 208 people in the first 2 years of the program. One of the things I also wanted to talk about is like all of this work isn't just us at BACS. We've been able to collaborate a lot with the community out there. And I wanted to just give some shout outs to the Office of Monterey County Education. Monterey County Office of Education has been very helpful. Donna Smith and her team and the FRC Family Resource Centers have been at the site. They're there regularly providing tutoring for kids, English tutoring for adults. There's activities. Really great to see movie nights sometimes when we come on, when they come on. We also have partnered a lot with different animal services, and we were able to secure a grant that helped with allowing partners to bring their animals, which are normally not, don't have their shots or vaccinations. And we've been able to partner with different hospitals to get that at a nominal fee. And so working with the VCA and SVCA and Peace of Mind have been really crucial for us in being able to provide services that also wrap around for pets, which is also something that's very different from the shelter versus other interim housing places. We also have connected with Natividad Medical Center, where we've been able to get like once a month clinical services on site. We've worked with different veteran support groups and also with Hype and recently Coke Farm, where we're getting fresh organic fruits and vegetables donated. In working with and partnering with people in the community, you know, BACS, we're a housing first and a housing fast model. So we do what we can to make sure that we're getting people into housing as fast as possible. And in order to do so, we have to develop good relationships in the community with different landlords. I just want to name a few of the landlords that we recently housed multiple people in. It's like Town and Country, Realty, Plaza Grande, Cambridge Court. These have been different establishments that have worked with us and have worked around credit repairs and just has been very supportive in helping us to realize people's dreams and get them into their own housing units. To date, we've we've partnered with over 40 landlords and property managers, and word of mouth has been getting around to where more and more landlords are reaching out to us, wanting to partner with us, and we're very, very grateful for all of the support that we're getting in regards to that. Just a little bit too, I think it would be great for us to give a shout out to our employment coordination. We've been able to have 36 individuals that we were able to support get employment in this past fiscal year from July to June, July 2022 to June 2023. And I just wanted to shout out some of the employer connections that we've made from, I didn't add it, but Safeway was also a recent one that we've been working with to house a bunch of people, to employ a bunch of individuals. And so here we have the employer connections from GameStop to Chase to Macy's. So a lot of work has been done within the community to get people back to work and get them feeling good about themselves, and also supporting them to be able to afford a place of their own. So this has been a great experience for us. These are, none of this can get done without like a village helping out. And, we've been able to get support from Victory Mission to the food bank to the Department of Rehabilitation. And I think all of the community support that we've received has been so influential in our ability to have and experience the type of success that we've had. So real shout out to Home Depot and other places. Home Depot helped to donate a lot of these planter boxes that we have where we're growing vegetables on site and using that in our cooking. And that's been definitely a great experience. That in addition with working with the Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Alejo helped out in making sure that all those donations came about. So just a lot of work that we've done together with the community has assisted us in helping so many individuals. I kind of wanted to close off talking about some of the successes that we've had just recently, where, we have the Johnson family who, they were just saying, we just wish we would have known about this program earlier. A family of 6, obviously very difficult to house, especially in this housing market with rates being so high. But being able to house these individuals, the Johnson family was very great. I think, being able to support them with getting a place where all of their children can, if not share a room, have a room for themselves. Also working with the Martinez family, which was a wonderful and tragic story where after the loss of his wife, he and his children lost their home, and we were able to support them with getting back into permanent housing and bring back some stability to their home after such a tragedy occurring. So there has been a lot of great work that has happened. We've been able to partner with a lot of people to help individuals find housing, and it hasn't been easy, but it's definitely been worth it. So with that, I think that's the end of our presentation. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen and yield the time back to you, Maya.
And thank you so much for walking us all through it. I think people see the Share Center up on the hill. They know that it's there, but they don't always know what, is happening inside and the great things that you've been able to accomplish. You've run through a lot of great statistics, and we just love hearing those success stories. Do you feel that the center has hit its stride yet, or are you still thinking you have capacity where you can do more, that you think that there are more programs that you can put in, more you can do?
I think that's a good question. Lauren and I, we talk about different things a lot, even like basic programs of adding like additional beds for like inclement weather situations coming up. And so we're doing our best to try to fit more. I think that obviously the need is great. I mean, I think the wait list right now is at about a 503 around there. And so I think we have to do more, and we're doing everything we can to work within the cards we've been dealt. So hopefully we haven't maxed out on our stride. Hopefully we're building momentum for some more stuff.
If anyone has questions for Desiree or Gary, go ahead and put them in chat. While we're waiting for questions, Gary or Desiree, could you walk people through what the center looks like? Not everyone is going to go inside the center. They're not going to have access to it, but it really is, when you think of a shelter, your mind goes one place, but the Share Center just doesn't look like a shelter at all.
Absolutely, I can answer that, Gary. I actually come from a different county and I worked and experienced different types of shelter settings. So when I came here, it was actually eye-opening because when you walk in, you have the front desk and then immediately you have the milieu area. So it's like a cafeteria type of setting. We have tables, chairs, and on the right, we have almost like a lounge area. At the far end, we have another high table where we also have a higher table towards the far right. We have it's like a little basketball thing for the teenagers. Then we have the little childcare kind of playroom area. Then we have a computer lab, and then going down the hallway is the bathrooms. And then at the back end, we have the different rooms. So it's not like, you know, bunks, cots, and everyone's like packed like sardines. It's not like that. It's about 4 beds or 6 beds for the family rooms. So they have their curtains and their doors, so it's private, you know, and it's much more walking in. It felt much different than the other environments that I had seen. And even with the clients, when I see them playing ball, running up and down, they're just comfortable. You know, it's just not at all what I've experienced in the past. It's very, very nice. And I think it just gives them a little bit back of their own dignity, you know, and we just see them all as humans and equal. It's just definitely different environment. Very, very nice. I don't know, Gary, if you have something to piggyback on.
Yeah, I was gonna say we do have a laundry room on site as well.
Oh, that.
And then the colors, I believe, were very intentional, where they're very bright and vibrant, and it has a very university type feel to it, where you feels like you could be at like CSUMB, but it's very bright and vibrant there. Yeah.
Oh, and then one more thing, we have a little clinic room area, so it's in the very beginning. So when they come in, they shut the door and it's all private.
And if people are looking at Desiree, over her, if I'm looking at the screen, over her left shoulder is where the kennels are, just orienting people to the center. There's the kennels. And then the other side is a play area so that kids can go outside, blow off steam, people can get some fresh air and still be in the environment of the center.
That is correct. It's a dog run area as well. And so we do have a backyard space for children to play in, a picnic space, and then we have a kind of a pet area as well in front.
So I think probably people might be asking, here you've got almost 2.5 years of operation. Where do you see expansions for services? Where do you see work at the center going, maybe in the rest of this year and in the years to come?
I think that one thing that has been really special for me is that we've been able to collaborate a lot more with other agencies. And I think that's where I see expansion going, is that it will be like expanding in collaboration with others. I think that one of the issues that come up often with having these like interim housing or emergency shelter units is that funding for it isn't, you know, it's difficult to get renewable funds to support such big endeavors. And so I think a lot of what we've had to do in this past year has been being able to collaborate with other agencies in the community that have the same goals and work together with them to house as many people as we can and get people off the streets. So having a very collaborative effort in the community has been a great experience for us. So we've been working with the HRC, CHS, Community Homeless Solutions. We've been collaborating a lot on making sure we're meeting the needs of the clients.
And Desiree, you might have heard from the clients. What would have they expressed to you things that they'd like to have? at the shelter services or opportunities there that aren't currently being provided?
Maybe just a little bit more flex type of funding because everyone's coming through different walks of life and may have different needs, and sometimes we can't support with all of their needs just because the funding can be so limited for strict things. So just maybe a little bit more flexibility for any instances that come up that are emergencies and needed in this person's life.
Thank you both very much for sharing this really great information. And it's really something that I think the city and the county can really take pride in, that, not only did you build it, not only did you put the programs into place, but now you're seeing really the results of all of that planning and all of that hard work is, in happy housed people, or going back out into the community. I really appreciate you both being here. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time.
And then for homeless residents who are not at the Share Center or other shelter programs, the county has an inclement weather program. So we always get questions, what triggers the program and how does it work? We have Alex Soltero from our Department of Social Services here to talk about the inclement weather program. Hi, Alex.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss the inclement weather response. My name is Alex Soltero, Management Analyst with Monterey County Department of Social Services. And we work in partnership with Monterey County Community Action Partnership, as well as the Coalition of Homeless Services Providers, to really facilitate a coordinated response to inclement weather events among our county's homeless services outreach teams, as well as our shelter operators. For the purposes of inclement weather, we're really looking at the period of time of November 1st through March 31st, and weather conditions of 45 degrees or below, and either actively raining or rain in the forecast. And it's really important that that those two criteria are considered together. For our residents who are living unsheltered, they're at the greatest risk of injury or are succumbing to hypothermia when our temperatures drop below 45 degrees and there's raining conditions. The coalition will monitor the weather forecast for the county, and they will send regular updates to the network and initiate the activation of the network when we have reached inclement weather conditions. Our priority is connecting our unsheltered residents with available shelter beds. So through the coordination with the coalition, we will engage with our shelter operators to identify available bed spaces or potentially spaces within their facility that could be used temporarily to expand capacity. So the
Alex, I'm not sure if anyone else is seeing a frozen screen, but I am. So it looks like Alex has frozen for a moment there, and he may not know that he's frozen.
Hey, Maya, I was just trying to jump in, and I hope that maybe
Yes.
There he is.
He's
So
still there.
sorry,
Perfect.
my internet connection decided to reset. So let me apologies for that.
Oh, no, thank you. We were worried you couldn't hear us.
No, it completely dropped off. I think the last thing I was saying was, when we get to the point of not having any available bed spaces at our shelters, the next step is our homeless outreach teams work with our clients to provide motel vouchers to connect them into a hotel room. And we have participating motels throughout the county to provide that life-saving resource for our residents. And then for ongoing services, those same agencies will offer their services and try to work with our clients. Any residents who need assistance with securing shelter during an inclement weather event, they can contact the Coalition of Homeless Services Providers at area code 831-883-3080, or they can visit the Coalition's website. They have a dedicated page for inclement weather, and that website address is chsp.org/IW response. And I will put that information in chat for those joining. But on that website, we have a list of participating homeless services agencies that were ready to assist any residents with securing shelter. And with that, I will pause here if there's any questions.
Thank you very much. And we're going to have to give your internet connection a boost of ensure to make sure that it stays going. While we're waiting for anyone to put questions in chat, or does anyone have any questions that they just want to ask? Let me just see if anyone has a hand raised. This may have come through when you were frozen, but one of the most common questions that I do get about the program is, how is a person who may be homeless, who may be on the streets, how are they going to know if it's time for the program, or where would they go to find out if it was time and they could have that option?
Great question. So we do try to do a lot of outreach, so through the coalition, as well as our homeless outreach agencies. So there's a lot of groundwork that gets built. Oh, okay, I thought I froze again. So a lot of groundwork gets built with educating the public. Also, working with them just towards permanent housing, but working with them to when there's incidents of a rainstorm coming, or last year when we had the flooding, to get that information out to the community. Any resident who is needing assistance can either contact the Coalition of Homeless Services directly through the phone, or go to their office, or visiting their website. There's a whole list of different agencies that not only can assist them with getting shelter during a weather event, but they can also provide ongoing services that range from going into permanent housing to food
And I think his internet decided to interrupt again, and I think he meant food distribution. And Lauren, what else? Could you jump in? And he was talking about the services that residents could get even beyond the inclement weather program if they contact homeless services provider.
He's reconnected.
Sorry. Yes. So yes, they provide a lot of different services ranging from, food distribution, employment service, referrals to mental health services, just kind of, meeting the client where they are and identifying what barriers they may have to getting into permanent housing. And so those are ongoing services that are available, all year long.
And would you say that most people who might be in the position of looking for these services kind of know where to go? Because I think people who are on the outside looking in may wonder, if I was in this position, how would I know, where to go? Or, could they also ask someone like in authority, or a police department, or go to a fire station and say, how do I find out?
I'm not sure if I'm frozen again.
You're
But
frozen, but we can hear you.
oh, okay. As long as you can hear me, maybe I can turn my camera off to save some bandwidth. So a lot of our outreach teams, they do go out into the community, particularly in encampment areas, to provide that information. We do, through Community Action Partnership and the Coalition of Homeless Services Providers, do a lot of outreach to local cities and jurisdictions, a lot of community partners to kind of get that information. We do also produce each year a homeless services resource guide which is also available on the coalition's website, that has a list of different shelters as well as food distribution centers and a lot of great resources. So it is definitely a team effort, and anyone, any member of the press on this call, your support in getting that information out to the community is greatly appreciated. But that's typically how our outreach is conducted through our homeless services agencies.
That's really great. I think people don't realize the boots on the ground work that's involved in trying to get that information out to those people who really, might need it at some point during the winter time. Are there any questions for Alex before his internet goes out again? I think, Alex, you did a great job of covering the program. I know it's one of the most common questions we get this time of year, and really appreciate you taking the time to run it down for us.
Yes, happy to be back anytime.
All right, thank you. And then our last topic, we're going to go from inclement weather to looking at storms from last year. We're already looking ahead to winter storms this year and concerns about some bad weather. But one bright spot, though, in all of this has been the partner agencies who have helped support our area during really rough times. And one of those agencies was the California Conservation Corps. Boy, the Corps really helped a lot last year. And if you have ever made a sandbag, you are going to really appreciate the work that the Corps does. We're very pleased to have Janet Wohlgemuth here from the California Conservation Corps to talk about the work that was done last year, and then also what they're looking for in terms of assisting and how to assist this year. Hi, Janet. Thanks very much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me. So the California Conservation Corps is a youth development program. We enroll 18 to 25-year-olds, men and women, and we do bring in military veterans up to the age of 29 to engage in environmental projects, but also we are California's response to state emergencies. So floods, fires, earthquakes, ag infestation issues. We can respond to almost anything the state's throwing at us. So again, last year we were very instrumental with helping support the teams over in Pajaro with sandbagging, as well as providing assistance to the residents. And then again, in the Carmel Valley area, building sandbags, doing some, removing some trees that were potential hazards. So we have those accesses to be able to do that here locally. We do respond across the state. So if there's a high need in, for example, in the Delta, we will be able to respond to that. One of the big things is that with the incoming potentials coming in, the winter months, we try to really encourage anybody that has a need, like a city or a county agency, to really get in contact with us early. We can write a contract with you. The contract does not become active until you call us up and say, hey, we need you, we have an emergency. We can get crews out to you ahead of the time if you're waiting to get a mission task order. Obviously, having that ability to get the crews there early means that we'll have boots on the ground for you, and also give you more assistance while you're waiting if the need is high to get more crews brought in. All of our crews are trained in the Department of Water Resources flood fighting techniques. And currently I have 3 crews in the Watsonville area, but we're hoping starting in February and March, we will have 2 crews stationed here in Salinas at the Rancho Cielo site. And those folks will also be able to join in if the need becomes necessary for us in the county. And then we are a year-round program, so we don't have any off time. All of our crews come with a crew supervisor. They come with tools, and they will be able to assist you. The one thing, though, is if, for example, we had something happening down in King City and it's a long haul to get everybody back and forth. We would look for, you as an agency to look at housing and feeding us, with that in mind, that we're cutting down the drive time to get to you and be able to help you in your needs of emergencies. So that's kind of a snippet of the CCC. I don't want to take up everybody's afternoon, but I could talk all day if you wanted on the core, but glad to answer any questions or anything like that you might have.
Does anyone have any questions for Janet? You can go ahead and put them in chat, or you can just shout out. While we're waiting for people to shout out or put in chat, a quick question about the contracts that you were talking about, because we have a lot of cities who are along, the Salinas River. We have, communities along the Pajaro River. In terms of making a contract, what would be the advantage, a little bit more about the advantage, and how would a city do that with the CCC?
So, fortunately enough, the CCC is not this big governmental, nightmare of doing contracts. Our contracts are typically 3 documents. It's really putting in place for emergency systems, all the legal documents. And then what your agency is willing to put up front for the financials. And we're able to let you know, like, the hourly cost and the overtime cost to have that crew there. That being, it's a way for us to also be able to track how much money your organization spent if you're applying for FEMA. The contracts themselves are super easy. You can reach out to me locally, and then we set up the contracts. I just get the vital information from you, get those contracts in place. They don't get activated until you make that phone call to us.
And I think that key word you said is reimbursement from FEMA, because there could be a lot of communities that may not have depth in their public works,
Right.
In a disaster, and work that you do would be reimbursable.
Right. The work that we do, we reimbursable to, obviously, a certain percentage, whatever FEMA's deeming that, if it's 70 or 75%. But at least you would be able to have a crew out there while you're waiting for your mission task to get filled. And then once they go on mission task order, then that contract basically would stop being activated and we'd go on a mission task order for them.
Could you describe what you might do for a city that has a contract with you? Just as an example, if we have municipalities watching, saying, how would I would create this contract, and then what would they do for me?
So the CCC has a lot of different entities that we can help you with in, say, for example, a flood. Again, all of our crews would be able to build sandbags, help with distribution of those sandbags, actually go out and lay sandbags, build structures for them. We can also help with shelters, helping, get people in, serving, those types of things. We've also been in situations where we have trees that have fallen over and your public works division is tapped out. We can't get to them all. Our crews are trained to use chainsaws, can, help with that kind of stuff. We can, we've been used in the past with, during earthquakes where we've had to close down residence areas. We can help do some security. And those types of things to help assist an actual city or municipality that is in need to have more bodies on the ground and moving. Typically crew sizes between 12 and 15 people on a crew. So we bring you the product pretty quick. And especially if you're trying to fill sandbags do not get manufactured quickly, and it doesn't happen through machinery. Typically, most of the time, to fill sandbags, it is a hand filling type of job. So it is a very large time consumer. And if you don't have those people to help, you're going to fall behind. And so the other part to that too is for some municipalities, the pre-flood is to come in and potentially make sandbags and have those ready to go. Or if you have an area that, may have had some flooding in the past, or you want to do stream clearance projects or anything like that, these crews are able to do that as well.
And I think you have a number that we had a storm preparation meeting in
Yes.
which you presented, and you gave a number of the number of sandbags that your crews could fill, and it was pretty amazing.
So typically on a good day, a crew can fill on average between about, depending on, the access and how big sandbags are, we've pushed out as many as 6,000 to 10,000 bags a day.
That's a lot of work. And I think unless you fill the sandbag, you don't know how much work that is.
That's correct. And, like they were saying the other day, one bundle of sandbags is about 200. And so each bundle, and then on a pallet that you bring, that's like 400 sandbags. And we're going to be doing, 100 of those suckers a day. So, the other thing is to really encourage folks to make sure you have those, bags in place or ready to go, because these guys will crank through them. Typically, for public use, a lot of people use the plastic material sandbags. They're not our favorites, but in a time of need, they do the job just the same. And understand, because some people don't understand that when we fill sandbags, we don't fill them all the way to the top. You don't fill a bag 3/4 of the way full. You might be filling a sandbag quarter to a halfway full, just because they become ineffective when they become too full. And, you're moving sandbags all day. Your back takes a hit when you're doing that kind of stuff. So, please understand that it's not like we're wasting or we're not getting enough material in there. There's a reason why we do it that way. So that's pretty much, the element for us that we can assist you with.
And then you did give some information earlier about where the crews would be strategically placed, but you also talked about members of your crew live nearby. So I think people can take some, comfort in knowing that you not only may have some crews staged locally, but you have crew members who live in the area which they may be serving.
Yeah, so our recruitment pool is, Santa Cruz, Watsonville, Salinas, Hollister, Gilroy, Pacific Grove, down to Soledad. So we hit the tri-counties essentially on where we're pulling. So there's a vested interest for these young people that this is my home community. This is my, area. But also it's not just here, but also as we look at other locations we have throughout the state. The CCC has what we have is 10 residential locations strategically throughout the state. And each one of those locations has about 85 Corps members on board. And then we have other non-residential facilities as well. So at any given time, the CCC runs about 1,900 to about 2,000 Corps members across the state. So if we got into a bad situation that we needed more Corps members, more assistance, and you were able to do a mission task order, we would get folks being brought in. So it does give you a bigger sense that there's more help coming when we can pull them. Our next closest locations is San Luis Obispo. We also have a team over in Fresno. And then from there we have up in the Delta. And so again, it's one of those things that I can't emphasize enough is that if we're getting hit, there's a high probability that the San Joaquin's getting nailed as well. So it's really important to have those, contacts and those contracts in place beforehand, because it may take us a day or two to get teams here because of travel time or the high need in another area.
And then one, just confirming, you had said that you were going to have some local, you have crews in Pajaro and at Rancho Cielo. Did you say 3 crews in Pajaro and 2 at Rancho Cielo?
So yeah, we have 3 that are stationed in Watsonville, and then we have 2 that will be coming online in the next 3 months here in Salinas at the Rancho Cielo site.
Thank you. I think that makes people really feel good to know you're close by and can respond if needed. I don't see any other additional questions for you, Janet. Thank you so much for talking. I know talking about the CCC is your favorite thing, and we're really happy you could come and share that information with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
And thanks everyone for joining us on the news briefing this week. Our next briefing is next week, and we'll see you then.